Hangover 3. Oh, I didn't actually put and deep sigh.
No.
Add that to the bingo card now.
So the story is that the Wolfpack have to be reunited once again for reasons which can only be described as financial, because Hangover Part 2 took a staggering amount of money. And the reason this time is that the Zach Galifianakis character is now off his meds. I mean, again, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen all this. He's off his meds. He gets giraffe. The giraffe gets beheaded. And in order to get him to go to some form of, life reaffirming rehabilitation, it's necessary to get together the old gang, because they were all in the first two movies. Here's a clip.
So we talked to Tracy today, and she said that the treatment facility that they found is really nice.
It's beautiful. I checked it out online. Great reputation.
They should just save their money and send him to fat camp.
Phil!
What? I mean, he should lose some weight. He'll find a woman. That's what he needs. The dude's lonely.
Well, if he's so lonely, why don't the two of you spend more time with him?
No, trust me, you don't want that.
No, you definitely don't want that.
Oh, come on. He's not that bad. I mean, what's the worst that's happened? The tattoo?
Yeah, the tattoo's the worst. Right?
Definitely. Tattoo is the worst. Nightmare. Speaking of which, you ever get tested?
Excuse me?
You know, because of the ink that went inside you.
I'm fine.
Q. Yeah, I know. So...
What are you doing?
I'm just gathering myself. So...
Well, shouldn't you have gathered yourself during the clip? What does gathering yourself mean, anyway?
It means trying to think of anything constructive to say about Hangover Part 3. So what happens then is that they go off to take him to this clinic, and then on the way they get run off the road by John Goodman, who kidnaps the boring one and leaves behind the famous one who has a career, the really annoying one who had the giraffe, and the dentist who had the tattoo, which has now been removed with the best laser surgery anybody's ever seen, presumably because of the lawsuit about the ownership of the tattoo, and also gave them the way in to make that incredibly crass bingo joke. So then they have to go and find Chow because he's got the gold from way back, and if they don't get Chow, then the other guy's going to get it. And here's the really interesting thing. That in the case of Hangover, which was, a huge hit, and then Hangover Part 2, which just basically did the whole thing, but more, like cranked up, louder, stupider, crasser, what are all the other words I need to get in there,
crass, lowest common denominator, stupid, rubbish.
All that stuff, okay? So Hangover Part 2 cranked all that up and actually, reaped the rewards of it, because it did well financially. The strange thing about Hangover Part 3 is that it's almost as if the director doesn't want to be making Hangover Part 3. What he actually wants to be making is Ocean's 11. He wants to be making an action movie. And there are whole sections of it in which, it is crass, dumb, stupid, boring, all the rest, and staggeringly not funny. I have been in Hangover screenings before when other people have been laughing and I've been thinking this is just me. But it was, the sound of tumbleweeds blowing through the screening. And one of the reasons was because in cranking everything up, the director thought, okay, I'm just going to make an action movie. And so there's this weird and very boring and very uninvolving action plot in which they have to break into Chow's house, which is a whole thing, and they have to disable the alarm and then get in and then get into the thing in the basement, and then they have to go to a hotel. They obviously have to go to Vegas, and then they have to break into the hotel, and they have to hang, and then they remember that, okay, well, it's meant to be the sort of, crass, over-the-top, gross-out humour thing. But that seems to have taken second place to the director simply thinking, oh, well, I don't want to make that movie anymore. I want to make a really boring caper film. And so, it's car chases and shootouts and again, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen everything. You've seen the giraffe, you've seen the flying, you've seen you've seen the shooting at the cockfighting chickens. You've seen all of this stuff. So all those bits are in there, but they're all, you go, oh well, that must have cost a bit more money, and that must have cost, and that big car crash, that must have cost quite a lot of money, and all those location and helicopter. So it's really peculiar. What started as basically an incredibly crass joke, which is, and here we go, bingo again, dude, where's my car? And seriously, dude, where's my car? Which is that you wake up, where are we? Let's retrace our footsteps. Then spawned the same thing again, but louder, has now spawned the oh, let's not even bother. Let's just do a bunch of car crashes and a bunch of chase sequences and a bunch of shooting and a bunch of running around. And every now and then we'll throw in what we remember as being... So, I mean, many people have observed this. It's less offensive than the other films. Than the second film, pardon me. And, you know, it's less racist and it's less really obnoxious in its... But it's also... I mean, at least Hangover Part 2 I got cross about. In the case of Hangover Part 3... I just got really bored, and I have to. The honest truth of it is that at one point I was leaving. You know, James King was here, and it was like the room was silent except this noise coming off the screen. And I felt my head sort of, I thought, I'm going to drift off. And we're in the middle of a car chase or a shootout or somebody hanging off the side of a hotel, and I'm actually going to slightly drift off. Then we were told at the beginning, look, you know, stick around to the credits because there's really funny gag in the credits. And there's an interview with the director who said, yeah, in the credits, I had to go at the critics because the critics don't get these things and they don't understand. You know, hey, how could the same thing happen to the same guys another time? Well, we'll really stick it to them. And there's a bit in the trailer that they're really going to... So we went, oh, well, we better stay, you know, because... And I had run to this screening instantly, having come from behind the candelabra, which I know we don't want to... You know, but
and Michael Douglas coming on the show very soon,
and was fantastic, right?
Yes.
In which Matt Damon plays me apparently from the Cannes Film Festival. No,
not quite.
Did you see the pictures of Matt Damon in the Cannes Film Festival?
Yes, he didn't look anything like.
No, he looked like Michael Gove.
Yes.
Thank you. But in the case of this, so we all sat there, and all the stuff happened, and and then the film finished, and then the credits started, and then it stopped, and then the post credits thing happened. And the post-credit thing went, wah! And at the end of it, you heard this sound. And then we went into the title music. And then I came out. And then I attempted to say something constructive on the blog, but it's not even worth being cross about. And the one thing that's quite encouraging about it is that, according to the trades, in terms of the money it's taken, it hasn't, at least in its initial days, because obviously it's open. It says that it doesn't look like it's going to take anything like the money of Hangover Part 2. Now, obviously, it's too early to call it, but wouldn't it be great if Hangover Part 3 just frittered off into the distance? If it was just kept away from the top spot by Great Gatsby, for example. I mean, it may have a brief moment in the sun. I mean, heaven knows there's posters enough all over the place. And like Fast and the Furious, we've all been battered into submission by the trailers. But it's boring in a way that I almost wanted. I wanted it to be worse so I could be angry, because at least being angry would be feeling... You know, what's that Johnny Cash song? You know, I hurt myself today to see if I still feel.
Oh, is that Hurt?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it a Nine Inch Nails song, I think, which then...
But Johnny Cash did a version of it.
Fantastic version.
Okay. Well, they do a version of it in Hangover Part 3. There's a karaoke version of it. And it was funny because that was all I could think of for the rest of the film. I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. Because my head's gone numb and I don't feel anything at all. It's like, I'm not angry. I'm not even disappointed. I'm just...